win at Arizona. Commanders rookie quarterback Jaden Daniels, who grew up in San Bernardino, was 26 of 30 with 2 touchdowns. In 4 games, Daniels has completed 82.1% of his passes. No NFL quarterback has a higher percentage in their first 4 games in NFL history. Today is media day for the Lakers and Clippers. First full day of training camp for both teams is Tuesday. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
I need your dollar, 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 that's what I need.
KBLA Talk 1580 celebrates small businesses, the enduring lifeblood of our community, with the launch of the KBLA SMB Marketplace. For the first time, small to medium-sized businesses will have an opportunity to promote their goods and services on KBLA and take advantage of our powerful reach and local marketing power. The SMB Marketplace is hosted exclusively on KBLA1580.com and is accessible from all our social media channels. Whether you're a small mom and pop restaurant, a car dealership, or a professional practitioner, we invite you to join in this new KBLA Talk 1580 initiative to promote your business. As a black-owned small business, you don't want to miss this unique opportunity to gain new customers on KBLA Talk 1580. For more information, contact us today at smb@kbla1580.com. That's smb@kbla1580.com. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
And if I share with you my story, would you share your dollar with me?
Time to get it. Hey!
Tavis, Smiley, and I'm glad to have you with us in this hour of our program today. Conversation now with Black Film Critics Circle co-founder Mike Sargent about the state of the film industry, diversity in storytelling, or the lack thereof, and the upcoming International Black Film Festival in Nashville this week, October the 2nd through the 6th. So we'll talk about the film festival in a moment, or in this hour. Mike Sargent, good to have you back. How are you, sir?
I'm all right, man. How are you? Good to be back.
Man, it's good to be back. And if I complained, I'd be an ingrate. I am doing well. And I'm delighted to have you on. I just had a great conversation with Charles Dickerson, who runs the Inner City Youth Orchestra here in L.A. They play around the country. They were just in New York, as a matter of fact, not long ago. So had a great conversation about the arts, and here you come now talking about film. So it's two great conversations back to back. By the way, Charles, I just a little birdie told me when he left the studio that today is Charles Dickerson's 72nd birthday. So he didn't tell me that while he was in the studio on the air, but I found out anyway. So if you're still listening, Charles Dickerson, or all those who love Charles Dickerson and know him, wish him a happy birthday. Today is his the beginning of his 72nd campaign. So happy birthday to Charles Dickerson. That said, again, delighted to have Mike Sargent on. Mike, let me start with this. There's a lot I want to talk about. As I said, diversity in filmmaking, or lack thereof, the state of the film industry. And, of course, we want to spend most of our time talking about the International Black Film Festival taking place this week again in Nashville. Before I do that, though, this was all over my feed on my phone this weekend, and I'm sure I'm not the only one. So if you get any sort of entertainment updates, then I'm sure you got an update somewhere over the weekend about this film Megalopolis by the renowned filmmaker Francis Ford Coppola. We all know his amazing work. He is, as I said, iconic for a number of things he's done. Certainly, The Godfather comes to mind rather immediately, in part because if you've ever heard Barack Obama give an interview and get asked about his favorite film of all time, it's The Godfather. He loves The Godfather, watches it routinely, and there are a lot of folk who feel, as Barack Obama does, about Francis Ford Coppola's work on that particular project. But there's so many other things he's done. He is a legend in this town. And this film, Megalopolis, came out. We are told about $140 million spent. Most of that his own money. Most of that his own money. It took him years to do this. And the joke in Hollywood today is that Megalopolis is Megaflopolis. $140 million to make this thing, and it only did $4 million at the box office this weekend, which makes it a historic flop. On the one hand. On the other hand, I'm reading people today who say you can never underestimate his work, that over time people will catch up with it. Why do I raise this? Because it raises a significant conversation about the ways in which this business of Hollywood has changed so much over the years. So that movies that are for thinking people, this is just me stepping out on the limb before I even let Mike Sargent respond, movies for thinking people that require you to have an imagination, a vision, a view of the world or what could be. Movies for people who are, more chronologically gifted. Movies for people who are advanced in their thinking, not demonizing anybody else. But these kinds of movies, my sense is, and again, I've been reading a lot of stuff about this, just don't have the home in theaters that they used to have. The theaters these days seem to be for sequels. This industry has gotten so scared. And indeed, the world has changed. The viewing habits of people have changed. I'm putting all this out there so when I do shut up, Mike can just take it and run with it. But Hollywood has changed. What they produce has changed. What we want to see has changed. And then we ain't even got to the color issue yet. We ain't even got to the race thing yet. I'm just talking about the way the business has changed. This movie premiered to a 10-minute standing ovation. A 10-minute standing ovation. It was premiered at one of these major festivals, and it tanked badly this past weekend. So we'll talk about Francis Ford Coppola and his legendary work and what happened this weekend. Film distributed by Lionsgate, and everybody in Hollywood turned him down. Lionsgate eventually agreed to distribute it for a fee, we are told. But everybody's talking today about Francis Ford Coppola, and again, in the way that this business of Hollywood has changed so much. And again, that does not include conversation about race and diversity in storytelling. We will talk again about the International Black Film Festival, but that's the frame that we are in. And when we come forward, I'll give Mike Sargent the rest of the hour to do what he does. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
From Leimert Park with love, this is Tavis Smiley. Tavis Smiley's new book, The Covenant with Black America, 20 years later, is now on sale everywhere. This classic text shot to #1 on the New York Times bestsellers list almost 2 decades ago. If you have the original book, you will surely want to get this 20th anniversary edition with powerful new contributions from today's leading voices. This 20th anniversary edition presents a compelling blend of historical insights and contemporary urgency in this critical and unprecedented election year. Get your copy of The Covenant with Black America 20 years later today.
Make a move into a home of your own. With City National Bank's Ladder Up Home Loan Grant, you could receive up to $20,000 that you never need to pay back. Use it toward your down payment, save on closing costs, or to buy down your mortgage rate. Find out more at cnb.com/ladderuphome. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Property must be in a qualifying market in California, New York, or New Jersey. Additional terms and conditions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. Terms are subject to change without notice. City National Bank is an equal housing lender. Member FDIC. NMLS number 536994.
My friends swim no matter the season, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can sometimes take me out of the moment. Now, thanks to Skyrizi and clear skin, count me in. With Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. 3 out of 4 people achieve 90% clear skin at 4 months.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor today about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis, and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks Vapor Stick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks vapors in an easy-to-apply stick, and it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks Vapo Stick, soothing comfort for the whole family. And when you need more comfort for yourself, try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks Vapors. Use as directed. Vapo Stick for use ages 4 and up. Vapo Shower Max used for adults only.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer whenever I want?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. 94% of Sleep Number smart sleepers report better sleep. JD Power ranks Sleep Number #1 in customer satisfaction with mattresses purchased in-store. And now, during our biggest sale of the year, save 50% on the Sleep Number limited edition smart bed. Limited time. For JD Power 2023 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards. To find a store near you, visit sleepnumber.com.
Made fresh daily in Leimert Park, Los Angeles, California. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley and Mike Sargent, who is the Black Film Critics Circle co-founder, talking about all things film in this hour. Mike Sargent, take it away. You heard my commentary, at least, about the way I'm reading all of the conversation today. It is the story in Hollywood about what happened to Francis Ford Coppola's Project Megalopolis. It's all on you, brother. Take it away.
Well, all right. There's so much to unpack here.
Yes.
I don't know how much time we have.
We got an hour, brother. We got an hour. Go for it. Go for it. Go for it.
Well, I think there are a lot of factors. I think that it's a confluence of things. I think that tastes have changed, of course. I think that the way we consume films has changed. I think the industry has cannibalized itself in a sense in terms of theatrical release. It used to be a movie comes out in the theaters, it makes its money, then eventually goes to the other platforms and ways. But now something is in the theater a couple weeks. The biggest film in the world will be out on digital within a month. And at this point, a film like this, like you said, a thinking person's film, a film that takes more than, let's just say, distraction, also speaks to why we go to the movies. You look at the most money-making films, the top 20 films of all time, they're not thinking person's films. And the same thing with the Oscar-nominated films are what's considered to be adult films or dramas or the most prestige films. They come out towards the end of the year, and though they may win Oscars and they may want to get a boost, but generally they don't make much money. You look at a lot of Oscar-winning films, they didn't make much money. I do think, like you mentioned about Francis Ford Coppola, I feel that he is making films for an audience, perhaps. I wouldn't say that audience doesn't exist, but they may not be the audience that goes to the theater anymore. And the way this film is coming out, I feel that maybe in many ways people aren't quite ready for this type of storytelling. We've become very used to a structure, a story structure, a way of telling a story, a 3-act structure. They teach it, and you can take a course. But if he's doing something with multiple narratives and allegory and making you think and taking its time, people don't even know what to expect. And I think that, like you said, I think it will find its audience, but I think to compete with whatever might be the most commercial thing that's out right now, Deadpool or something like that, it can't compete. I think that what he does, and I think there are still a few filmmakers, definitely, Coppola is in the 80s now, so he's from a very, very different generation of filmmakers. They don't believe that what we're making is film, that it's not art. I don't agree with that, but I definitely think it's a different kind of art for a different kind of audience.
Yeah.
So
when you say,
I think that's why this film is not going well. Yes.
Yeah. When you say that our tastes have changed as moviegoers, I don't disagree with that, but unpack that for me a bit more.
Well, okay. For instance, that speaks to why do we go to the movies?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's look at, there's the general audience, and if we want to talk about a black audience too, a lot of, let's say, black historical dramas traditionally, no matter how many awards or who's in it, they don't make that much money.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because black folks don't necessarily want to go to the movies to be reminded of some of the things that they deal with in real life.
Mm-hmm.
So most people in general, if you look at these top 20 films, they're superhero films, fantasy films, science fiction films. They're escapist.
Escapism, yeah.
And escapism, and we build a whole universe around it. We have more Alien films and more Star Wars films and another Star Trek film and another reboot of Superman, another reboot of Batman. And so we are, as a culture, we are drawn to seeing the same iterations of the same kind of stories over and over and over and over. So as a result, I think there's not so much there's a shift in taste, but there's also what we're used to digesting. If you're eating a certain kind of food all the time and then somebody brings something, no matter how wonderful it is, but you're not familiar with it, you're like, what is that? I don't understand the spice. What is? No, I'd like to go right back to what I know. So I think our tastes have changed because of what we've been fed.
Let me go to that point. This is we're gonna get a little deeper for a second, which is ironic. Talk about Hollywood, which can be so surface and so prima facie. Let's go a little deeper anyway, because I think you're onto something, and I think it's worth exploring. So another way of saying that our tastes have changed, our cultural tastes have changed, is to say that we're dumbing down more and more every day. So for me, it's more than just that our tastes have changed. It's that we live in a world, and we live in a moment, live in a country certainly, where there isn't the appreciation for art, for true art, the way there used to be, a level of appreciation for it. I just don't think we appreciate art across the board. This is me talking, in the way that we used to. So what happens is, as you've just laid out, that we end up going to the movie theaters now basically just to see sequels. But that raises a lot of questions about our culture and where our culture is headed. One, if we can't appreciate true art for what it is, on the one hand, and on the other hand, all we want to see is a reiteration, a reframing, a continuation of the same thing. And I'm not bagging on anybody, but how many bad boys can I see? How many? I mean, I can do this all day long, right? But that's what my point, Mike, is. That's more than the fact that our tastes have changed. I think that speaks to, and I might be putting too much on it, but I think that long term, that leads to a decay of civilization. It leads to a devolution of culture. If all we want to see is another sequel of the same thing, and if we can't slow down enough, open our minds and hearts enough to truly appreciate art, I can tell you exactly where the culture is headed. I digress for now. Talk to me.
Well, no, you're not digressing, because we could talk for quite some time on what you just said. But I agree with that. But I'm gonna turn it around.
Come on, give it to me.
I agree with you. Because yes, it's like comfort food. We want the same food we know. We've been fed this, and that's comfortable. Yeah, I like Batman, and I like Superman, and I like, this kind of thing and that kind of thing. That's how genres are born. But after a while, retelling and a rebooting and a reimagining, and they're going to redo Harry Potter now. After a while, okay, it becomes sort of like the new iPhone. It's just another version of what we've seen before.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, I believe our tastes are going down. And I'm also going to add, I think AI is also a danger to that, because we're, as a culture, not only do we not appreciate true artistry, but after a while, we won't be able to tell the difference. Okay, after a while, you'll go to school to learn your craft in whatever artistic area it is. And, well, because we're a capitalist society, they'd rather hire an AI that is just a regurgitation of what we're familiar with, because that's all we care about. That's what we'll buy. We will just buy the same thing repackaged. So, yes, I do feel that, sounding fatalistic, does go towards a decline of a civilization, but I also feel the art of a culture speaks to that culture.
Mm-hmm.
So if our art is consistent regurgitation of themes, let's just say that have very little to do with reality, there's a reason for that too. It's because we're so unhappy. The only thing we can do is medicate by going back to this comfort food, going back to this distraction. Now, all of that being said, I think that where we are right now, this inflection point in terms of film, culture, art, all of it, I think that, you said something like, what do we want? All we want is this thing that we've had before. Well, it's not so much that's what we want. That's what we're used to. I think the reason we've had something like the Black Panther became such a gigantic hit is because we'd never seen that before. And we'd never seen it before on even a subconscious level, just a place on Earth that had not been colonized in itself had never been done on film. Forget the fact that all the characters were black. So there are still a lot of stories, and I think, I take kind of a science fiction view on humanity. So there are a lot of stories from a lot of cultures that we have yet to see. And I know we want to talk about some other, multicultural stories, but I think in a way that is the answer. The answer is to not keep doing that same thing, because that does lead towards, doom. That is the decline of a civilization, which is what Megalopolis is about. Who wants to see that? Who wants to see what you're already living? We already know we're living in a pre-dystopian era. We don't really want to see that. Now we want to see a fantasy. So that's my take on what you're saying.
So here's the question then, and we'll push and talk about the International Black Film Festival again whenever Mike comes on. There's so much to get into, and I like talking to smart people about things that I think that matter in our culture, and certainly the kind of film and art or lack thereof that we are fed impacts, I think, the culture. The culture impacts the art, and the art impacts the culture. I don't think it's either 100%. Or. It's both and. But here's the broader question: what happens ultimately to Hollywood if the movie theater becomes a place of nothing but sequels? What happens to the business? And that's a question that ought to matter to black people, because a lot of black people connected to this industry. We still don't have the power to greenlight things the way we want to. There's still a lack of diversity in storytelling. We'll get to that part in this conversation a little bit later. But what ultimately happens to the industry, as they say here in L.A., if the movie theater experience only becomes a thing where we go to see a bunch of sequels?
Well, you see, that's what I mean about the inflection point. We're at a point now where Hollywood is in crisis, especially California. California film industry is in crisis for a lot of economic reasons, a lot of, circumstantial reasons and whatnot. But we've replaced certain things. Our values as a society have changed. So the people who are running those studios, the biggest studios, are not the same kinds of people, let's just say, that are making the films. So what where are we headed? Unfortunately, I feel what's going to happen is just like everything else, where streaming has supplanted theatrical, and it was accelerated during COVID. But as opposed to, let's just say, stemming the flow, holding back the tide, studios have gone with it. Every major studio has got their own streaming channel now. Paramount and all 20th Century Fox and Disney, they all have their own streaming channels. So they all are cannibalizing their own market. So what I think is going to happen is similar to what Netflix did and what some other studios are doing, where they're going to have to end up buying their own movie theaters to play those sequels you're talking about. And we're going to see the rise of the small independent theater. I think that that's only natural. It's sort of like when big booksellers became huge and then all of a sudden the industry collapsed. It was brought back by all these small booksellers that started opening up, and people were rediscovering books. And so I think it's sort of an everything old is new again. I think that the industry will shrink, and then it'll rebuild itself with let's say on a community level, and then eventually get overtaken again, and then we'll watch that cycle again. Because we've only had film for about 125 years.
So,
there've been lot of contraction and expansion.
So if Hollywood, to use your word, is at an inflection point, if the industry itself is at an inflection point, where are black people in that equation?
Now, that's a very good question, because what it all comes down to is, at this point in time, is the delivery system. So where do you go to get what you want to see? Where do you go to see black stories? Where do you go? Do you go to a theater? Do you go to a streaming channel? Do you go to hunt for it in the section on the Netflix black film section? Like, where do you go?
Yeah.
So, where do you go? And we kind of live in an a la carte society where whatever it is you want, like if you are into, oatmeal delumpifiers, there is a podcast on oatmeal delumpifiers, So whatever kind of film you like, whatever kind of genre you like, there's a channel for it, there's a section for it. It's good and bad, because I think for black folks, we don't have really a black distributor after all this time, But I also think the death of the giant movie theater, or if that's all movie theaters are playing, something else has got to rise. There's got to be alternative ways for us to get the content that we want. I think film festivals are a great way. But you mentioned something also before about Megalopolis. It got a standing ovation at the Cannes Film Festival because everybody there is there to experience film, and they're not even an American audience. This is people who are used to film being more than what we are used to here in America. So that was the intended audience for something like that is the Cannes Film Festival, not the American audience. I think the same thing with black folks.
Well, that's the point I made earlier. I think, and this is not so much about Francis Ford Coppola or Megalopolis as it is a much broader conversation about, again, where the culture is headed when we don't have a deeper appreciation, a finer appreciation for true art. That's a serious question about the culture, about the demos. And we'll put a pin in that for now. When we come forward, you said a couple of things, though, that I do want to give you a chance to sort of unpack. And I've told this story before, and I'll tell it again when we come forward about Prince, my friend Prince, and our conversation one day that went on for years about how content is king. That's Prince to me, Tavis. Content is king. And then at one point, years later, he pivoted. The conversation shifted from content is king to distribution is emperor. That's Prince to me. Tavis, content is king. But years later, he realized that distribution is emperor. While we're at this inflection point, while Hollywood is at this inflection point, I asked Mike, what does that mean for us, for black people? And he made the point, we still ain't got distribution. Well, isn't that inflection point like a good moment for us to start talking about that and thinking about that and doing something about that distribution piece, as it were? We'll talk about that and the International Black Film Festival when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
Helping to stretch your moral and political imagination. This is Tavis Smiley.
Paid for by government.com. Did you know? The United States Mint has issued a new Morgan silver dollar coin in proof condition for the first time. Not only that, they are also minted in 99.9% pure silver for the first time ever in history. Coin experts are calling this an amazing opportunity for anyone that knows the enduring popularity of Morgans. But you must hurry. Only 400,000 of these legal tender silver dollars were issued. These first ever Morgan silver dollars are brand new with stunning mirror-like finish, minted by the iconic San Francisco Mint. Call now and you're guaranteed a new first ever 99.9% pure silver proof Morgan dollar. To learn more, call 1-800-973-9717. If you order now, you will receive a free coin collector bonus pack, a $25 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-973-9717 now to secure your new Morgan silver dollars before they are gone. That's 1-800-973-9717.
Thanks for joining us. I'm Mike Moore. Now here's the latest from the Black Information Network. President Biden says he won't get involved in a potential strike of longshoremen. Thousands of dock workers are threatening to strike this week after labor contract talks with the U.S. Maritime Alliance stalled. Financial experts say a strike would be devastating to the U.S. economy. Arraignment for the man suspected of plotting to assassinate former President Trump at his golf course is expected today. A Secret Service agent reportedly spotted Ryan Ruth hiding in the bushes with a rifle at Trump International Golf Club in West Palm Beach. New York City Mayor Eric Adams is still insisting he will not resign as he battles federal corruption charges. The African-American mayor over the weekend told parishioners at Emmanuel Presbyterian Reformed Church he has no intention of stepping down. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Moore from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network, and BINnews.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. At Blindster, we offer custom-made faux wood and real wood blinds and shutters, cellular shades, Roman shades, bamboo shades, exterior shades, and more, all at factory direct prices. Don't pay too much for new blinds. Go to Blindster.com.
Is this the title? This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
A rough day for both of LA's NFL teams. The Chargers lost at home to Kansas City 17-10. The Chargers, now 2-2, did not score after the first quarter. They're at Denver next Sunday. In Chicago, the Rams are 1-3 after losing to the Bears 24-18. Most of the Rams' offense came on 4 field goals. The Rams are home next Sunday against Green Bay. Magic Johnson's NFL team, the Washington Commanders, are balling. The Commanders are 3-1 and lead the NFC East after a 42-14 win at Arizona. Commanders rookie quarterback Jaden Daniels, who grew up in San Bernardino, was 26 of 30 with 2 touchdowns. In 4 games, Daniels has completed 82.1% of his passes. No NFL quarterback has a higher percentage in their first 4 games in NFL history. Today is media day for the Lakers and Clippers. First full day of training camp for both teams is Tuesday. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
Hi, I'm Ray Richardson, your sports connection here at KBLA Talk 1580. Join me and my co-host Neil Scarborough every Saturday night at 7 for Out of Bounds, the show that brings some flavor to the world of sports for 60 minutes. We take you beyond the scores and press conferences. We give you our point of view, the way black folks see what's going down. You can join the conversation and give us your analysis at 1-800-920-1580. Out of Bounds every Saturday night at 7 on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
You like your style, though.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
Our daughter Jessie loves playing detective.
But since we discovered she has sensitive skin, we've been playing detective too.
We thought the problem was our puppy.
But it was actually our old detergent. So we switched to Tide Free and Gentle.
Tide Free and Gentle has no dyes or perfumes, so it's gentle on her skin.
If it's gotta be clean, it's gotta be Tide Free and Gentle. This back-to-school season, Tide and Downey are giving back with $1.5 million in scholarships. Enter to win. No purchase necessary. US/DC 17+. End September 30th. Rules. Tide.com/scholarship/official rules.
Hey, checking in?
This is not just your flu shot appointment at Walgreens.
Yes.
Uh-huh. This is getting your entire family vaccinated in one trip.
Hey, Mom?
And a snack on the way out. Get flu shots for everyone in your family. Together. Schedule appointments online today. This is wellness made easy. Walgreens.
Vaccine subject to availability and for ages 3+. State and health-related restrictions may apply.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks Vapor Stick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks vapors in an easy-to-apply stick. And it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks Vapo Stick, soothing comfort for the whole family. And when you need more comfort for yourself, try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks vapors.
Use as directed. Vapo Stick for use ages 4 and up. Vapo Shower Max use for adults only.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer whenever I want?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. 94% of Sleep Number smart sleepers report better sleep. JD Power ranks Sleep Number #1 in customer satisfaction with mattresses purchased in-store. And now, during our biggest sale of the year, save 50% on the Sleep Number Limited Edition Smart Bed. Limited time. For JD Power 2023 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards. To find a store near you, visit sleepnumber.com.
Eggs are a staple in our diets, and there's only one egg with more delicious farm fresh taste plus superior nutrition. Eggland's Best. With more vitamins, including 6 times more vitamin D and 10 times more vitamin E, plus 25% less saturated fat than ordinary eggs. Available in so many delicious varieties: classic, cage-free, and organic. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
Let's get back to more of this rich dialogue with Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley and Mike Sargent, Black Film Critics Circle co-founder, and pleased to have Mike back on this program. We're talking a moment about the International Black Film Festival, which takes place this week, October 2nd through the 6th in Nashville. I want to close the circle on this conversation that we were having earlier. Mike and I were, in case you've just tuned in, about Hollywood. About Hollywood being at an inflection point. The biggest news story in Hollywood today is that the new film called Megalopolis from Francis Ford Coppola tanked at the box office this weekend, and so there are all kind of conversations about what that means for Hollywood, what that means for how our tastes have changed, given his record of just producing iconic, not just hit films, but films that have changed the business, changed the industry. Indeed, there are all kinds of folk being quoted in a variety of places today who are, Hollywood can be a cruel place, but nobody's really laughing at Francis Ford Coppola because there's so many folk in this business who are in because they were inspired by him and by his work. And so nobody's really laughing at him, but it does create a conversation in a variety of ways about the future of this business. And Mike and I are always concerned specifically about how black folk fit into that particular frame. So I was saying a moment ago that Prince told me for many, many years as my friend, Tavis, own your content, own your content. He preached that message to me year after year after year. Own your books, own your media appearances, own everything that you create. Try to own it. And I took his advice to heart. I own my books, and I own my building, and I own this, and I own that. So I was very serious about making sure that I owned and controlled my content, my library of all of my TV shows at PBS, 15 years. PBS doesn't own that library. I own that library. So all the stuff I've done, I have made sure that I owned and controlled my own content. And then somewhere along the way, Mike, the conversation shifted from content as king to distribution as emperor. So you were making the point a moment ago that made me think about the Prince conversation. This notion that what we still don't have inside of Black America is any real distribution. Because I was asking you, at this inflection point for Hollywood, might this not be a good time for black folk to figure out what we gonna do in the months and years and decades to come? And so you were about to say, sir.
Well, I think that, yes, controlling, because not only have our tastes changed, and like I said, we're an a la carte society, but how do we, what is the delivery system?
Mm-hmm.
If the delivery system is not the movie theater and it's not Netflix, is it YouTube? The playing field is leveled to some extent because we're in the age of the influencer where you can be someone and get discovered you can find your audience before you have big money behind you.
Mm-hmm.
Then big money wants to buy you.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think that is the missing component. I think you ask any filmmaker, it's one thing to, make your script, make your film, raise the money to make your film. But now, how do you get people to see it?
Mm-hmm.
And that's really what it comes down to. So I think that is what we have to own. It's one thing to have a studio, and it's great that we have Tyler Perry, and it's great that we have a number of other film production facilities. But the distribution mechanism is something that I think we have to have either part of or create our own. I still think that component is missing.
No, it's missing, and that is the big question, right? What's to be done about it? I don't know that I have the answer to that either, but I do realize that distribution is a major challenge for any of us, no matter what industry we are in. Distribution is always a challenge, but certainly for those who are in the artistic community, these artistic spaces. Mike's right. You can get your script done or produce your soundtrack, whatever it is you're working on. But at some point, you run up against this distribution wall. And so every one of us know what that feels like when you're trying to push something out and you don't control the levels of distribution. So I digress for now, but that is the question that we have to wrestle with. Let me pivot now to the International Black Film Festival. It's taking place October 2nd through the 6th in Nashville. You kind of you walked up to this a moment ago, Mike, about film festivals being one way for black people to get their work showcased. I have noted over the years that there's been an increasing number of these black film festivals. They all have different names, of course. They all have different catering in some ways to different audiences. But what is behind, for starters, this rise in black film festivals all across the country?
Well, I don't think it's just across the country.
Mm-hmm.
I think coming back to what I was saying about Black Panther, at the end of the day, our stories, one of the things you would hear, I'm a filmmaker besides being a film critic.
Sure.
One of the things you used to hear back in the day is, well, black films don't travel.
Mm-hmm.
There's no foreign distribution for that. And which is another way of saying, well, our stories, nobody really cares about our stories. But we've learned that that is not the case. As a matter of fact, what's happening with black film festivals, not just in America, there are black film festivals all around the planet now. There are 100, this year alone, there are 112 black film festivals all around the world.
Wow.
In Africa, in Canada, all over, South America. So the one we're talking about, the International Black Film Festival, is the only one in Tennessee, and it's been around since 2006. So right now, there are like 10 black film festivals just in California. So we're in a very different age, and I think film festivals are also a component because not only is I think more folks, more people who love film should go to black film festivals and support any black film festivals. If whatever state you live in, you're probably close to one, so you should look it up. And there's great listings of it. But I think a film festival is a place where you're going to discover new work. You're going to discover films that you never knew were being made, the kinds of films that you never. How many people have seen a short, a black short, a documentary short, or a narrative short? They're being made. They've been made for a long time. But I think black film festivals are a great way to learn about up-and-coming filmmakers. And as you probably know, the bigger the film festival gets, it is almost like a film market because that's where you can get that distribution.
Yep. Our guest is Mike Sargent, Black Film Critics Circle co-founder. We're talking about the International Black Film Festival taking place this week, October 2nd through the 6th in Nashville. More about that festival and then some when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
From California to the Carolinas, everybody's listening to Tavis. More when we come forward.
So you may have heard of Project 2025, a plan crafted by Trump and his MAGA loyalists to give Trump virtually unchecked political power and take Black America backwards. Here's how. Project 2025 strips away our voting rights protections, and it eliminates the Department of Education. It would siphon public school funding to private schools, leaving our kids behind. Planning on going to college? Good luck paying for it. Project 2025 cuts funding for federal student loans. Trump's Project 2025 would also make states monitor women's pregnancies, and it bans abortion. Project 2025 would also gut Obamacare, ripping away health care from millions. Simply put, Trump's Project 2025 would be devastating to Black America. But we can stop it by voting for Kamala Harris for president, because we are not going back.
I'm Kamala Harris, candidate for president, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Harris for president.
Hey there, Los Angeles. This is James Lucky Jr., publisher and editor of Los Angeles News Observer. Are you hungry for news that matters to you in the African-American communities of Los Angeles? Well, buckle up, because we got the scoop you've been craving. Stay in the know and never miss a beat with our free weekly publications conveniently available near you. Or hop on the digital wave and become an exclusive subscriber at OGNSC.com. Don't forget to join the party on Instagram and Twitter at OGNSCINC for behind-the-scenes access and sizzling updates. No more FOMO. Let's stay informed, connected, and empowered together.
We asked seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well-trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up. Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number to put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone, and should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement.
Check your statement every month. If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
Call your Senior Medicare Patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
I'm Jeff Davis. I believe my daughter should inherit something, but not the role and responsibility of burying me. That's why I have a pre-need burial insurance plan through Harrison Ross Mortuary. Their plan offers me 4 payment options. 1, pay in advance or pay over 3, 5, or 10-year time periods to keep the payments affordable. Contact the professionals today at Harrison Ross Mortuary. We can be reached at area code 310-704-4901. That's 310-704-4901. And ask for me, Jeff Davis. Thank you.
Sometimes he fails at fitting in, but we're okay with that. You're inside the Tavis Smiley Show.
You are indeed with Mike Sargent, Black Film Critics Circle co-founder, and we're talking in these remaining moments here about the International Black Film Festival in Nashville, October 2nd through 6th. Tell me more about the festival, Mike Sargent.
Well, the festival is, like I said, it's been around since 2006, and they have quite a lineup. They have documentaries, they have narrative films, they have short documentaries, short narrative films. There are a number of films there. Actually, I wish I were in Nashville because I really want to see. There's one in particular on an artist, a California artist named Betty Sayre. It's called Betty Sayre, Ready to Be a Warrior, which I think it's really something I've read about her and I've heard about her for a while. It's a documentary that features John Legend and Tina Knowles and CCH Pounder, all talking about this great artist.
Now, she's a legend here in L.A. She's a legend, yeah, man. I know Betty Sayre.
Yeah, you know she's a legend.
I know her well.
You know who I'm talking about. So yeah, you know well. So that's a documentary I really want to see because I've seen things on her. There are a couple narrative films that I really am interested in. One in particular called Impossible. And what's interesting about this film, it's by a director named Sakita Lewis, and it's a drama. But it's inspired by the real life of the film's main character. And he acts in it, and he literally plays a variation of himself. And it's about a young man who's morbidly obese, who wants to be a police officer, but he's just found out that he's got type 2 diabetes, and he's in danger of literally dying. And in order for him to save his life and potentially go after what he wants, he has to do the impossible. And, you know, something having to do with, you know, he says in the trailer, you know, being black is one thing, but being fat and black is something he said he'd never wish on anybody. And it's something in our community that we ignore, I think, many ways. We all have somebody in our family who's, you know, severely overweight, and we don't think about what their life might be like or how they're treated or what kind of support they may need in their life. So I think we're in a great age of black film where we're getting to see films like this getting made. And because, again, it's a film you never heard of. Most of the films, or at least the top 3 films there's a film called Evergreen, another film called Reunion. You haven't heard of these films because they don't have distribution yet. Mm-hmm. So I think that part of it is supporting these films, these filmmakers, but part of the whole idea of a black film festival is it's literally amplifying our stories because we have a lot of stories that just don't get told. So there are a number of them films that I really want to see there. Have you been? Have you ever been?
I've been once, many years ago. I was one time, and of course I've been to so many black film festivals all across the country. As I said, the burgeoning growth of these things is something to take note of. And I didn't realize the number until you said it. 112 black film festivals this year alone, all around the world. So obviously at these festivals, our stories get a chance to be seen and to be heard. When we come forward in our remaining moments with Mike, I want to ask Mike how he thinks we're doing beyond the black film festivals when it comes to diversity in storytelling. We'll talk about that part, diversity in storytelling. DEI is under attack everywhere else in this country. But what does Mike say about diversity in storytelling vis-a-vis this platform, film? We'll do that when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
This is getting good. Yeah, man. Tavis Smiley continues when we come forward.
If you're like me, 60 and retired, making ends meet, especially here at the supermarket and drugstore, is tough. I'm so blessed to have found benefitscheckup.org. It's a free and confidential website from the National Council on Aging that connected me to $1,200 a year in programs that help pay for food, medicine, utilities, and more. Maybe it can help you. benefitscheckup.org.
You know where you want to go in life, and City National Bank can help. City National knows the dedication it takes to build your vision for the future into a reality, and our team is here for you. We have a wide range of options to help, from personal savings accounts to interest-bearing money market savings accounts and more, all designed to help you get where you want to go. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Learn more at cnb.com. City National Bank is a subsidiary of Royal Bank of Canada, member FDIC.
My mom has taken up going to the park to practice yoga.
My dad's going to a club, but not a book club, a salsa club.
Finding new hobbies comes with age.
My mom has started getting lost and not knowing where she's going.
Becoming lost or disoriented doesn't. Confusion with time or place may be a sign of Alzheimer's. An early diagnosis can help improve the quality of life for your loved one. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With Venture X, earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy and turn everyday purchases into extraordinary trips. Plus, receive premium travel benefits like access to over 1,300 airport lounges where you just check in and chill out. Open up a world of possibilities with Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
Freedom is an endless meeting. So let's get back to it with Tavis Smiley.
Mike Sargent, this is a little random, but I think black people expect you to know the answer to everything, given that you are you are the man in this space. Somebody's asked me, Tavis, could you please ask Mike Sargent if he knows anything about the Will Packer and Aaron Magruder project, Black America?
I know very little, but I've heard that it's coming. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, we heard about it a few years ago, and nobody's seen it. And everybody, you say Will Packer and Aaron Magruder, and you say Black America. Everybody's been waiting for it, but it's been kind of quiet lately on that front. So I didn't know if you knew something that perhaps we didn't know.
I haven't heard anything. No, I haven't heard anything recently, unfortunately.
Okay, fair enough.
No.
Fair enough. My extra question, I think, as I said a moment ago, we are celebrating all of these film festivals, these black film festivals all around the world. As Mike shared earlier, there are this year 112 black film festivals alone all around the world, but the International Black Film Festival is taking place this week, October the 2nd through the 6th in Nashville. They've got some amazing offerings at this particular festival that people will be traveling to Nashville to participate in and to witness in person. But my broader question was, beyond these film festivals, which give us a chance to show our various creations, how you think we are doing broadly with diversity in storytelling. Mike Sargent.
Well, I think there's still a long way to go. I think we have a tendency in this country to talk about diversity in binary terms, black and white. How are black films doing? How are we getting representation? But there's a lot more representation needed, especially for Latinos. What we've seen recently in the last couple of years with Native Americans, like with the success of Reservation Dogs and, Killers of the Flower Moon and even a reboot, again, a sequel of a Predator movie, Prey, did very well. So I think that what we're seeing starting to happen with Native Americans, and I think you guys know about this new Cherokee Nation Film Studios that's just opened up a new film production facility. I think we have to start doing that. We have to come together. The distribution is one thing, and how we're going to distribute it and what's the delivery system. There are delivery systems if we don't own one and start one, but we have to have the product to put there. I think these film festivals show us that it's there, but we need to be able to produce and support within our own community so that we can make these films. 100 years ago, there were over 30 black film production companies, and most of them had their own theaters. This was around, most people heard of Oscar Michaud, but he was only one of many at that time, back in the 20s and 30s. So obviously there's a long history as to why we've never heard of it, and all those films are lost. But I think we're entering an era now where it is conceivable, it is affordable. You can shoot your entire film on an iPhone and find an audience. So I think that we're in a good place. Like I said, it's that inflection point. It's just a question of, are we going to take the bull by the horns and really ride it to where we need to go?
The International Black Film Festival, once again, is this week, October 2nd through the 6th in Nashville. We thank Mike Sargent, Black Film Critics Circle co-founder, for joining us in this hour to talk about that and a great deal more. I enjoyed it as always. Mike, good to have you on. All the best to you.
Oh, thanks for having me, man. Come back anytime.
Thank you for your time, sir. I appreciate it. Tomorrow is October the 1st, which means that tomorrow night is the one and only vice presidential debate, Tim Walz versus J.D. Vance. If you're listening in L.A., on my home station, KBLA, we will be broadcasting that debate live, as I'm sure many of our other stations that I'm heard on right now will be broadcasting. We're broadcasting it live here in L.A., followed by a 90-minute roundtable panel tomorrow night. Of course, on this program, this nationally syndicated program, tomorrow we will tee up the debate for you, taking place again tomorrow night. And then Wednesday, of course, on this program, we'll have a roundtable discussion unpacking what we saw on Tuesday night. But again, the debate tomorrow night between Tim Walz and J.D. Vance. And tomorrow also happens to be the 100th birthday of Jimmy Carter, President Jimmy Carter. Turns 100 tomorrow, and I've had the honor to interview him many times over my career, and we're going to do a tribute to Jimmy Carter, looking into my vault of some great conversations with him over the course of my career and his many years of loving and serving the American people. That's all tomorrow on Tavis, Smiley. Until then, thanks for tuning in today, and as always, keep the faith.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
Thanks for joining us. I'm Mike Moore. Now here's the latest from the Black Information Network. President Biden says he won't get involved in a potential strike of longshoremen. Thousands of dock workers are threatening to strike this week after labor contract talks with the U.S. Maritime Alliance stalled. Financial experts say a strike would be devastating to the U.S. economy. Arraignment for the man suspected of plotting to assassinate former President Trump at his golf course is expected today. A Secret Service agent reportedly spotted Ryan Ruth hiding in the bushes with a rifle at Trump International Golf Club in West Palm Beach. New York City Mayor Eric Adams is still insisting he will not resign as he battles federal corruption charges. The African-American mayor over the weekend told parishioners at Emmanuel Presbyterian Reformed Church he has no intention of stepping down. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Moore from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network, and BINnews.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. At Blindster, we offer custom-made faux wood and real wood blinds and shutters, cellular shades, Roman shades, bamboo shades, exterior shades, and more, all at factory direct prices. Don't pay too much for new blinds. Go to Blindster.com.
Is this the This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
When Magic Johnson became a part owner of the NFL Washington Commanders last summer, he said it was the biggest achievement in his business career. A year later, Magic is connected to the hottest story in the NFL. Folks around the country are talking about the resurging Commanders franchise and their talented rookie quarterback, Jayden Daniels. Magic's team is 3-1 for the first time since